We leave it there and we shift our focus to other big developments taking place globally. The 2025 Shanghai Cooperation Organization Summit is set to make history, taking place in Tianjin, China. It will be the largest SCO gathering to date, with over 20 world leaders discussing key issues like security, trade, and food security. New topics like cyber defense, AI, and Belarus's formal membership will also be on the agenda. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi, Pakistani Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif, Azerbaijani President Ilham Aliyev, and Maldivian President Mohammad Mizu have already arrived in Tianjin for the summit, scheduled for 31st of August till the 1st of September. Myanmar's Min Aung Hlaing has met with President Xi Jinping in Tianjin, joining prior meetings with Nepal's KP Sharma Oli and Kazakhstan's Kasim Jomart Tokayev. Nepal's Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli expressed his gratitude, saying he was pleased to meet President Xi Jinping once again. He highlighted that their bilateral talks were productive and emphasized Nepal's commitment to further enhancing cooperation with China. This summit marks the 25th anniversary of the SCO, with over 10 international organizations participate in the same. We are expecting many bilateral meetings as far as the SCO summit is concerned. We are expecting the heads of India and China to meet. We're also expecting a meeting between the Prime Minister of India and President of Russia, Vladimir Putin, at the SCO summit. The focus of the SCO summit this year will perhaps be on trade talks, negotiations, and strengthening of bilateral relations between the member countries. Remember, this particular summit comes amid several recent global events, conflicts, as well as current tensions over the American tariffs. I have with me Mr. Scott Faulkner, head of Eagle Enterprises, a security firm, who's joining us live from Washington. Mr. Faulkner, as I've just tried to explain to our audience as well, it's an interesting time for the SCO Summit 2025. You're joining us from the United States of America, so I must ask you first, what really is the reading of the SCO Summit and all the news that's coming in of the bilateral meetings and the trade talks that are likely to take place in the US? How is America reading the developments that are taking place in the other part of the world?
Right. Well, I think the first thing is that they know that China and a lot of the players in China right now, it's going to be a huge photo op. I mean, the greeting ceremonies for some of these heads of state have already been very dramatic, very visually engaging. The question becomes, does the SCO really have an overall agenda beyond just simply not only aggrandizing China, but in essence, rehabilitating Putin, rehabilitating Kim from North Korea? I mean, here are the people who are pariahs, and they're on the world stage here in China. So it's going to be interesting to see whether the visuals are going to be backed up by any real substantive activity, collectively, and of course, the different bilaterals. It comes at an interesting time, as you mentioned, on many fronts. One is that a U.S. appeals court struck down Trump's tariffs just a couple days ago, and rendering them illegal, saying, and unconstitutional, because the 1977 emergency powers that Trump has invoked, they say, really are not relevant and do not hold jurisdiction for this particular set of tariffs. So that's going to be an interesting thing. The other is that all these countries, especially India, are under major tariffs from Trump. Will this court case affect those? On the other front, Trump just yesterday announced the de minimis waiver being removed, which means going back literally decades, that no matter what tariff arrangements and trade arrangements are in effect, any individual unit being imported to the U.S. under $800 was exempt from any of these things. Now they are not. And there's already been a number of countries who are saying we're not going to ship into the United States at all, almost like an embargo. So there's just a lot of wheels turning, and it's going to be interesting to see how all those, in front of the camera meetings, but more importantly, behind the camera meetings, are going to play out as against that backdrop.
Mr. Faulkner, at the same time, if there is something substantial that comes off this summit in terms of trade relations and a renewed understanding of business between the nations, is that something that's going to send alarm bells or ring alarm bells rather in the U.S.?
I don't know if it'll be alarm bells, but it definitely is going to be something that the United States and certainly Trump and his trade people are going to have to take into account. With, again, how much is rhetoric, how much is reality is going to have to be seen. But the key is that given Trump's actions in the last, like the de minimis thing, and also this court case, and also his appointing of a new ambassador to India, who is not viewed as necessarily some people think he'll be a Trump enforcer versus a olive branch to India. All these things are happening, and the timing couldn't be worse in some ways for the United States, because all of these countries that really, except for India, because I think India is sort of more of an honest broker in the world, a lot of these countries want to be a counterbalance or an alternative to the United States, and there's just a lot of things in play. And so having all these activities going on, it's going to be an interesting thing to see. Again, are there going to be public pronouncements? Are there going to be behind the scenes deals that will be known maybe months from now? It's going to be an interesting, it's an interesting moment, and a lot of things that America, especially Trump, would like to do are probably at risk at the moment.
Mr. Faulkner, interestingly, you've spoken about an alternative to Western groupings. Do you think that currently the SCO has what it takes to present that alternative option to the world, or what will it take?
I don't think it does. There are just too many countries involved that have internal problems. Is China going to continue to embrace or try to openly embrace Russia's invasion of Ukraine? Is Pakistan and India really going to bury the hatchet? Are there going to be is China and India going to resolve all their border disputes and water resources disputes? This is a forum. It's always good for people to talk, both in front of the cameras and behind the scenes. But in terms of, again, I've looked at this like a since the United Nations Secretary General's there, it's almost like a mini United Nations General Assembly that usually takes place in late September in the United States. Just because everyone is in one room doesn't necessarily mean anything major might happen. There's just so many fundamental issues that are not going to get resolved because everyone's shaking hands in front of the cameras. It's going to, but again, a power play by China, the visuals that China are going to use for internal and external use, they're going to definitely get those photo ops on an epic scale.
All right, Mr. Faulkner, stay on with us as we shift our focus from the SCO summit to other news. Pro-Palestinian demonstrators have gathered outside the venue in